President Obama pulling the combat soldiers out of Iraq and focusing more on Afghanistan. What do you think about that?
Well, the President's speech last night was fulfillment of an announcement he's been wanting to make, that he made a pledge at the end of August of 2010 for combat operations to stop. The dilemma, I think, faced by the President, but even more so by our country and by our soldiers, is that 50,000 remain, 50,000 troops. Furthermore, the Iraqis have no prime minister. For the moment, they don't have a parliament this meeting. They don't have an oil law with the Kurds in the north, which gives them the revenue for their treasury. And there were 13 different attacks in provinces last week, in which Iraqis were killed by terrorists. Now, this is hardly the end of hostilities. The question always has been, what are our objectives? Define really why we are in Iraq, why we are in Afghanistan. These are the questions that I'm not alone in asking of our President, and likewise we have some responsibility in the Congress to define, because all the objectives can become very, very large in terms of a democratic government, human rights, rights for women, children, schools, quite apart from public safety or basic order, and some defense against the Iranians who are next door, or various other hostile foreign powers. But at some point we cannot, as a country, do everything. And we're going to have to determine what it is we want to do, hopefully before the President makes another announcement of withdrawal from either country.
So, Senator Lugar, I know you mentioned the troops that are still there, but what would you like to see happen? We had a local soldier killed in Huntington in Afghanistan recently on Monday, but what is the right thing to do? What would you like to see the President do with our troops?
Complex issue to define in a few moments, but I would say that in Iraq, we are trying to provide stability. We are hopeful there will be enough of a government to provide order, to provide defense of the country against others. From the moment we have 50,000 troops on the ground in Iraq to try to help that process proceed, but it does need a government, it does need leadership. And that we cannot really provide. We've asked the Iraqis to elect their leaders and determine their course.
And what about Afghanistan? I know the President's saying we're going to shift though. We've had this local soldier killed there. What do we do there? Do we increase more troops? How do we make sure that more of our troops don't die? What's the right thing to do?
Well, the United States has increased the number of troops by tens of thousands. There is no guarantee against casualties. As a matter of fact, in fighting insurgent movements in the various provinces, our troops are going after people who have been terrorizing various towns and villages, trying to clear those areas. But then we have to hope that the people we're training as police will work as opposed to desert. We have to hope that there are civil governmental officials who can govern, and they've been hard to find. We have to hope that there is some diminishing of public corruption, so there is some confidence in the national government as well as the local governments, and that has been hard to come by. So at the end of the day, this is why I say it is very, very important to begin defining the limited objectives that we have and the basis on which we would try to turn whatever we can over to the Afghans and withdraw our troops.
Would you vote to support more troops going to Afghanistan?
Well, I already have. I think there are going to be no more going than have been now authorized by the Congress. The question is,
would you vote for more, though?
Coming out. No, I would not, because I think now we really have to determine the limits of our involvement and the specific goals that we have.